All right. So today we are going to talk about the causes of World War II. Okay? So the first thing I want you to think about is, what were the causes of World War I?
Tension between countries in Europe.
Okay. All right. Some economic tensions, some leadership issues, territorial expansion. Okay. Kind of all imploded, right? All right. So, the first picture we're going to look at here is a meeting of the League of Nations in 1936. Okay? What was the League of Nations?
That was like Italy.
Just in the name.
It's just everybody there.
Oh, it was people against the Axis powers, wasn't it?
Okay, so we're a group of nations, and we're going to join together to make sure that this kind of war never happens again. All right? However, it failed. Okay? Why did it fail? It was weak. Okay? America was not involved. The just basic structure of that. Okay? We were more focused on the Depression. It was unsuccessful. Certain people were not members. Okay? And there were bullies. Okay? So this is an acronym, all right, to help us remember why the League of Nations failed. All right, so in the cartoon there, what do you see?
A bunny.
A snake.
Okay, the bunny and a snake. Okay, the bunny represents who? Okay, and what is the snake?
International strife.
Strife. Okay, what is strife?
Struggle.
Yes, struggle, hardship, okay? All right, so we've got this international struggle, okay? It is staring the League of Nations directly in the eye. What do you think that this cartoon means?
The League of Nations was weak against the international struggle.
Okay, the League of Nations would be considered weak in the face of this international struggle, okay? All right, so here is our acronym, okay, broken down. Weak. The sanctions that the League of Nations set up did not work. It had no army. It had no way. So what they said, we're going to do this, but it had no way to enforce it. You can't make a law without a way to enforce it, right? Because who's going to bother following it? All right, the strongest nation in the world, the United States, never joined. It had poor organization and was hard to follow through on the items that was suggested, okay? That depression was a big piece for the United States. More people were worried about recovering from the Great Depression than they were with what was going on in Europe, okay? The League of Nations was unsuccessful. It was a great idea. Let's join together. Let's make these rules so that we never have to face these things again. But some people didn't join. It was weak. Okay. Italy and Japan, betrayed the League. They outright went against the rules that it imposed. And there were big bullies. Germany, Italy, and Japan attacked those weaker countries, okay? All right. Consider the original goals of the League of Nations. Consider its shortcomings. It says to create a new acronym, but we're not going to do that. We're going to move on, okay? All right, so we are starting to move towards war. Okay, we've come off of World War I. We struggled through the Great Depression. People are kind of starting to recover. We're moving towards that. What did FDR put in place to help us recover?
More depression.
What did Franklin Roosevelt, how did he help the United States?
He put in the laws.
What was it called?
Oh, the fireside chats, wasn't it?
Well, he did fireside chats, yes. Yep, to speak to the nation, but what did he do with the government to try and help? What were people doing?
You get government jobs to build the country.
Okay, and what was that called?
It was like the 3 R's.
There was recovery, relief, and reform.
It was, I don't remember. I can see the picture.
There was the first one and there was a second one. I know it's Monday, guys. Let's get those brains moving. The New Deal, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the New Deal. But yes, you're right, relief and recovery and reform, okay? So we are focused on that. We are kind of, we have this, let's take care of ourselves first kind of attitude here. What is that called?
Capitalism.
Starts with an I.
And,
Individualism.
When you want to keep to yourself, you are
Independent.
individual.
isolated.
Oh,
You are isolated, remember? Man, Monday morning's got you guys kind of rough. Okay, so isolationism, all right? The United States, the people of the United States, we wanted to take care of ourselves. We wanted to say, you know what, they've got problems, but they're not our problems. Not my monkeys, not my circus, or whatever that saying is, okay? There you go. All right, so we knew that there was problems, but we didn't want any part of it. All right, but slowly things started to happen that were worrisome. Mussolini wanted Italy to be a strong military state. Ethiopia was located between 2 Italian colonies. So what did they do? They crushed Ethiopia in 1935. And the League of Nations said, you can't do that, but with no army in place to help enforce those rules, Italy just did what it wanted, okay? They placed economic sanctions on Italy, but no one wanted to enforce those sanctions to risk another world war. So when it says that the League of Nations was weak, this is what it means, okay? All right. Here it says, Eritrean boys take the oath and swear to become loyal Baha'is. So, does that look good?
No.
Nope. What salute are they making? Mm-hmm.
Well, they're young.
Yes, they are very young.
Like all of them in the back too.
Yep. And that's what they did. They recruited these boys to be young soldiers. Okay. All right. Germany and the Treaty of Versailles. Germany paid those reparations. What's a reparation?
Tax.
Blame.
So they were blamed for the war, and so they had to pay back the what it cost. This is either.
Who's leaving?
Who does?
I wish you.
Emma's not in here anymore. That was last hour.
Oh, foot knockers.
Okay, come back. Okay, so Germany was forced to admit blame for causing World War I, and they had to pay back the countries that won. They had to pay these reparations. But what was the problem with that?
They didn't want to.
They didn't want to, but could they?
Probably.
I mean,
Depression too.
the country was destroyed in the war, so how are they gonna come up with all this money to pay these other places? Okay, they had to give up their navy, and they had to limit the size of their military.
And no Air Force.
German colonies were removed from German control, and industrial areas of Germany were seized. If they seized those industrial areas, they took away their colonies, they took away everything, but they were supposed to pay all this money back. How are they supposed to make the money to pay it back? Okay, so can you see where that would kind of irritate some of their leaders. Okay, like, well, we're supposed to pay all this money back, but you took away everything that we have to make money. So some tensions were starting to get ruffled, and they were starting to build, okay? All right, so here is a map of Germany after the war. So you can see where some areas were kind of cut down. They took away some areas, gave them to other nations. Germany was forbidden to unite with Austria. The coal fields were given to France for 15 years. Okay, there was a demilitarized zone in the Rhineland. Poland was given a corridor to the Baltic Sea, cutting off East Prussia from Germany. Rich farmland was given to Poland. So it was going to be really, really difficult for them to pay those reparations and to kind of bring themselves back from that war. All right, so Hitler, he became chancellor in 1933, and he secretly began building that military up. Remember, one of the rules that was imposed after World War I was that they had to give up their navy and they had to reduce the size of their military. Hitler took control and started secretly rebuilding that military, okay? Building roads that could serve as runways. He directly violated that Treaty of Versailles. He stated that he was rebuilding to stop communism, but his plan was to build a German empire with a master race. And it says there, why was communism considered such a threat to the Western world? Why do we not want communism?
Because then the government controls everything.
Okay, what is the problem with the government controlling everything?
It's like a monarchy. It's what we escaped from.
Okay,
It goes against democracy.
it does. Everything that we stand for, right? Okay, so he says that he's stopping communism. So we got a picture here.
It's pretty anti-communist.
You vote? Yep. All right, so remember I mentioned just a minute ago on that map, that buffer zone, the Rhineland, okay? It was a buffer region between Germany and France. Why would we need a buffer region between Germany and France?
So they don't fight over territory.
Yeah, because they hate each other, they didn't like each other, they wanted separated, okay? Hitler sent military into the area as early as 1936. So he just kept doing these things to kind of poke the bear, right? Laura, sit up, please. The German occupation of the area violated the Treaty of Versailles, but France and Britain did nothing. What did that tell Hitler?
He could do whatever he wanted.
They didn't have power.
He was in control.
Yep. He kept breaking the rules and they did nothing. So what signal does that send?
They're weak.
Yep. All right. Annexing Austria. That was the next thing that happened. Annexation, the joining of one country to another. In March of 1938, Hitler demanded that Austria join Germany. Now, when we looked at the map, what did it say about Austria?
Not allowed to join.
It was forbidden to join forces with Germany. Austria did not want violence, and there were many Nazis in the area, and so they just kind of threw up their hands and said, we're not going to fight you if you come in to our country. So he marched into Austria unopposed in 1938. And there he is.
Isn't that in the Sound of Music? Is that what happened?
Yes, it is. All right.
Hitler Austrian?
Huh?
Isn't Hitler Austrian?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so what does appeasement mean? If you appease someone, what are you doing?
To give up your principles for peace.
Right. So you're just saying, I don't agree with you, but I don't want to fight. so I'm just going to give up, okay, and give in to you. All right, Hitler invaded Czechoslovakia and the Sudetenland. His advancement scared France and Great Britain. Both countries silently accepted a plan of appeasement, okay? All right, the Spanish Civil War, another cause. All these things are adding up, okay? The conflict between two different political groups in Spain arose, the Nationalists and the Republicans. The Nationalists, who won the fight, was a fascist group supported by Italy and Germany. Do you think that that's maybe why they won?
A little bit.
Okay, maybe they had the backing of some of these big, strong countries. And then the Republicans was a communist group that was supported by the Soviet Union. Okay, so that instability in that region kind of drew some people's attention there, kind of like a magician. You're looking over here while they're doing something over here. All right, so then we've got these alliances that formed. Hitler and Stalin signed a non-aggression pact. So Hitler and Stalin said, okay, we're not going to fight each other. We're not going to fight each other. We're not going to waste all that money and resources in fighting each other. Look at this cartoon. What do you see there?
Hitler dancing with the dude.
Hitler getting married to Stalin.
Okay, Hitler is the groom, Stalin is the bride. All right, what do you think that the cartoonist was trying to, what point were they trying to get across here?
They were
Hitler's just
working
using
together.
him.
They were bringing the two countries together.
Okay, it's bringing the two countries together. Caden, you said that Hitler's using the Soviet Union, okay? The Soviet Union is the female. Do you think that that plays a part?
Yeah.
Okay, at this time, the bride swore to obey her husband, okay? So women were seen as weaker, the weaker sex, and so there's probably a good reason why why Stalin is portrayed as the bride here, okay? And Hitler's kind of got a kind of scheming look about him. All right, so the Soviets and Nazi Germany agreed to not go to war with each other. The Soviets wanted to stay out of war, but they also wanted the Nazis to help them gain territory, especially Poland. All right, so in thinking about all of these things that led up to the start of that war, okay, we are going to do this timeline activity. Now, I've got a worksheet here for you that lists all of these causes, okay, all of these things that led up to it, and then on into the war, okay? So in order to understand the war, we need a timeline of how things kind of played out, okay? Sometimes it helps us to see and understand what happened when, leading up to, and then as a direct result of the war. So I'm going to give you these. We're going to get some paper. You can tape some paper together, right? We're going to use rulers. We're going to make this look nice, okay? And we are going to create a timeline. And you're going to have to get your computers out. We're going to look up some of these dates and these events and get them on our timeline, okay?
Are we
Does
doing that
anybody?
today?
This is going to be due on Thursday.
Thursday.
Yep. So you have the next 3 days to work on this.
In class? You should let us
No.
know with partners.
We're not working on it in class, so. All right, any questions? Any other questions?
No, we're good.
All right. Okay, let's get started on our timelines.